You're listening to the Health Powered Productivity Podcast by RaderCo. I'm Marcey Rader, founder and chief productivity lead. This podcast's mission is to give you and your team bite-sized, time-saving, focus-boosting, health-improving tips that you can implement right away. Now, on with the show. Design days, focus days, think weeks. There are many names to call this time that you give for yourself. Whatever you opt for, it's one of the most important things a company and an individual can implement throughout their work year. We are so bogged down in tasks and stuff that we don't give ourselves time to think and be creative. Problem solving and innovation does not come in the space between 30-minute meetings or 60-minute meetings. It doesn't come between the space of email answering, Teams, or Slack responding, and getting on Zoom. Our work volume is higher than it has ever been. We are a nation of over-communicators, where working remotely is being felt with even more disruption due to notifications. The search term, how to focus at work, increased by 300% in the last year. One answer to that is design days. RaderCo's definition is one full day or more, could be 2 days or a whole week, with no meetings, no email, no text, no chat messages, completely open to solve problems, create, and think at 8. It's a day dedicated to synchronous focus time that can be used for reflection, planning, or mind mapping. We can complete those things we often don't have time for or get pushed to the back burner. We can work on those things that we know are value added, but sit in the parking lot for weeks or months because we can't carve out time for them. It can open up space for learning and training to enable career progression. One of my clients calls it her Christmas list. Instead of a parking lot, she'll say, I have stuff on my Christmas list, and they just sit there and I never get around to them. So she started scheduling design days quarterly, and that's when she can work on her Christmas list. Some specific things my clients and I have used them for have been inventing a new concept, working through a bottleneck, or designing a new service or product. We've used them for organization and planning, especially at the end of the year, when we're working through our powered path method and doing our reflections. Our coaching clients often complain about wanting to learn more about the company and the industry that they work in. Or they just want, to work on their own personal and professional development, but they never have the time to do it. Design days can be used for training, increasing brand knowledge, or research. Almost every individual that I have coached that works for a company is behind on their training. They want to devote time to learn about their company or their industry, and they just can't fit it in. Or I should say they don't fit it in or won't fit it in, but I can understand why when you have so many things that feel like more of a priority. Bill Gates called this time Think Week. And he would take 1 week twice a year away from all tech and society to a cabin in the woods and read. Most of us can't take a full week and we can't go to a cabin, but we can incorporate our own design time. My client, Justin Jones Fosu, who is the founder of Work Meaningful, takes Think Weekends each quarter to reflect, plan, and work on new offerings. He goes by the 12-week year, and he often goes to the mountains or someplace else inspirational. I've gone to the beach, the mountains, the lake, or just somewhere different in my home city. If I'm not spending the night, even just going to a different, a coffee shop or the library or a hotel lobby. It doesn't have to be fancy. One of the things I look forward to when my husband has a disc golf tournament is we stay in an Airbnb, and I will use that weekend for design days. Now, they can be done with others and even be more effective that way for some people, but you have to be thoughtful and set up the rules and guardrails ahead of time. You don't want to distract yourself from routine tasks if they are with a team member. This time is for creating and, working through bottlenecks or processes and basically getting shit done. When I have design days with our RaderCo Director of Marketing and Client Concierge, we alternate between work time and walkie-talkie. We do this at their family lake house, which is about an hour and a half away, and we will work on, different, we have different priorities and we might work through something. And then in between those work sessions, we will walk up and down the road beside the lake. And we have covered 10 miles in 2 days doing this. We just, we'll work and then we have lunch and then we walk and then we work and then we walk. And then, and it's wonderful that way because also walking, after about 15 to 20 minutes, the neurons are going back and forth or, crossing between the left and right brain, and you are more creative and more likely to problem solve. As we're walking, we're always coming up with new solutions or talking through processes. And sometimes it's just taking a break from heads down and focusing. I've also done this with a friend I don't work with. Wendy Gates Corbett, we stay at an Airbnb and each takes a separate area of the house to work in, and we determine when we'll come together for breaks or meals, and it's a form of body doubling where people can stay more focused on a task and feel better about working just by knowing someone else is doing it too. If I'm solo, I create my plan, I whiteboard it out, and I make sure I take enough breaks. A lot of energy is required to focus so heavily, and breaks are where creativity bubbles up. I don't like to do these in my home office because it's just too easy to get distracted by the normal things, and so I go somewhere else. Even if it's just in my co-working space, I will go somewhere else. One of my clients, Abdo, has Focus Week. There are no internal meetings for a whole week. I believe they do it in July, but it's time to do deep work without interruption. Some people choose to vacation during this time, since they won't be returning to an overflowing inbox or tasks from meetings they missed. Still, that works if that's what they choose to do and that's when they choose to take it, because a holiday without work stress can also be a great way to come up with solutions. This year, or in 2022, I should say, RaderCo implemented design days at Blueprint Medicines, which was wildly successful. Most of the company was able to shut down their inboxes and Teams chat for a day and work outside the box. And when I was piloting it, one of my coaching clients came up with a process he had never had time to work on before, and it solved a bottleneck that could ultimately save them money and time. Now, when I say most of the company could shut down, there are some roles that they needed to be available. This is a biotech company. They needed, pharmacovigilance. They needed to be available. But even for them, they weren't as distracted by the non-urgent chats and emails that they would have gotten throughout the day. So it was still a little quieter. For many people, it feels weird not checking email. And this is because we check out of habit or impulse, and our brains have gotten used to that dopamine drip. And it's common to feel uneasy at first. We're so used to switch tasking and checking our notifications all day that it takes practice to let our brains be quiet and concentrate. So when you plan your design day, as a company, do at least one per quarter or month. Schedule them for the year so people can plan in advance. Individuals can do them as often as needed depending on their role. Some feel like quarterly is a gift, whereas others take one full day a week with no meetings, emails, or chats. Now, I do keep Thursdays free most weeks from meetings, but they're not design days. They're just meeting-free days. Block your calendar as out of office so no meetings get scheduled. Alert your team if it's not a team or company-wide design day. And you might need to also alert key stakeholders 3 to 5 days in advance and let them know that you won't be available on that day. Ask them for anything they anticipate needing before then. Otherwise, it will not be resolved until after that date. One thing that that happened with one of the company's design days is that somebody realized, oh, I'm not going to be able to do what I wanted to do unless I get, this document from somebody else or this work from somebody else. And so then they requested that from that person, and then that person spent 2 hours, trying to prepare this paper so that this other person could then work on her design day. So you want to plan it in advance and get everything that you need from whoever you need it from. And then on the design day, consider going somewhere different. Whether you work from the office or home, leave it. Don't go to the same place. Go to a library, favorite coffee shop, hotel lobby, park, rent an Airbnb. Even better if it's more than one day and you can overnight somewhere. You're out of office, say that you are taking a design day. Please don't be embarrassed. Don't worry about how it's going to look or feel like it should be a secret. I want the vendors or customers I work with to be thinking strategically and creatively, and I want them to know I am too. Please turn off the notifications on your phone. Put it on Do Not Disturb or turn it off. If you must check your inbox, put it in, not to be checking email, but you must be in your inbox because maybe there are some tasks or something in there. Put it in work offline mode if you're in Outlook, or pause it if you use Gmail. Yes, it's going to be challenging, but that's not what this day is for. If you must be available for urgent matters, ask them to contact you via phone so you aren't checking your inbox or Slack channel. Listen to focused music, white noise, or nature sounds. Make it remarkable. Drink a coffee or a tea you don't usually have and journal or write down notes as they come to you. I always have a Reed's ginger beer or a root beer in the afternoon, and it feels like a treat. Have lunch somewhere inspiring or unique and enjoy it screen-free. If you're in a cabin or a hotel, have something delivered or create a meal and enjoy it mindfully. Take breaks as needed. Use a timer. Ensure you get up and move around every 45 to 90 minutes. Take breathing or meditation breaks, or stare outside if you have a beautiful landscape or interesting people watching option. I have an Apollo Neuro device, and I have it on all day long, alternating between focus and creative modes. I have design days mapped out this year, and I know what I'm working on, in some cases months in advance for one of them. If you are a leader or are influential at a company, start incorporating these. If you have to just start with your team, start there. Then advocate for the whole company. It's really best that way so individuals don't have FOMO from being offline all day. But you also want people to be scheduled their own individual design days so that it works with maybe their vacation schedules or their project timelines. If you're an individual, schedule them monthly or at a minimum quarterly and put them on your calendar now. If you're a business owner or C-suite, go away for 1 to 2 days as a requirement. Suppose you use our Powered Path playbook and method. In that case, you're already mapping out your priorities, and it will be easy for you to add to your agenda. Take the time, notification-free, to reflect, plan, think-a-tate, and create with a design day. And if you need help implementing these at your company, contact us at hello.raderco.com. We would love to help you design the program, training, and support around it. Thank you for listening to the RaderCo Health Powered Productivity Podcast. The resources mentioned are linked in the show notes. We encourage you to check out our recommendations page on hello.raderco.com/recommendations, which lists all our favorite products and services. If you found this podcast valuable, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone you know that could benefit. If you want an eye-opening process to plan and reflect on, giving you the superpowers to see your remarkable accomplishments, experiences, and key lessons earned along the way, check out our Powered Path Playbook. It's an interactive digital course and analog tool that leverages your past and powers your future. hello.raderco.com/playbook. Many of our listeners use our podcast as discussion points for team meetings. If you want tailored team training or coaching, reach us at hello.raderco.com. And lastly, if you're looking for more bite-sized tips, get a sneak peek of my latest book, Work Well, Play More, Productive, Clutter-Free, Healthy Living, One Step at a Time. It's 1 year behavior change in productivity, clutter, and health in novice, pro, and master levels. It's waiting for you at helloraderco.com/gift.